Hey guys, welcome back. This video will encompass the entirety of Halloween Horror Nights 2013. With me again we have...
My name's Jen.
And JJ.
And today we're going to be talking about the event. So, what are you guys' thoughts on this event? Let's start with a prelim thought.
Well, I didn't expect it to be as big as it was, because it was a very big year. And I didn't really expect so many people to be there and everything like that. And I really didn't know what to expect, because I've never been to Horror Nights before as a guest or anything like that. Because I work at the park, so it kind of more of a sideline thing where I'm just like watching. Oh, they're having fun and everything like that. This is my first time actually going as a guest and enjoying it. And I have to say that my experience for it was really good, and I didn't expect it to be as amazing as it was. So.
Well, I've never been to a Horror Nights before either, like at all. So it was fun. I like how they did a whole thing for the beginning. So that was interesting. And I've never even seen the movie yet, but you know.
Yeah.
But as a Horror Nights virgin, I guess you could call me, it was fun. It was fun.
Good. So let's start with talking about the mazes. So did you think this year's selection was up to the standards of the franchises that they built on?
Well, I can't really say enough for Insidious because I have not seen the movie, so therefore, when I went through the maze, I didn't really get it.
Okay.
So I can't give a full, proper review on that because I don't understand the story or anything like that. I do have to say it was pretty interesting going through the whole thing where it was just really interesting. I'm trying to remember back, it's a while ago. But yeah, no, it was interesting. That was cool. And
going back to Insidious, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was probably...
Yeah, I remember Hans even he was like, this was pretty cool.
I've never seen the movie. I thought Insidious was probably my least favorite out of all the mazes. But it still had its charms until you got to, I think it was a kid's room, I think it was, where this lady pops out of a closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think they were up to par with the scaring part, but the way it looked and everything was pretty neat.
It was very convincing, the architecture and everything. It was actually really nice. It was actually a decently long maze.
Yeah.
Kukui was also pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't really get the whole movie theater aspect to begin with, but
then
I learned about it.
Yeah.
Then I learned about it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
I had to tell Victoria, who came on the show before, it was her first time at Horror Nights, and even she was like, what's with the movie theater thing? And I had to explain to her that the story, if you listen to it, was a young boy for his birthday gets taken there by his uncle, and everyone gets killed in the theater, and then he makes his way home where everyone's killed there, and then he gets, I guess, kidnapped by El Kukui and taken to the cave.
And now knowing this, the whole maze makes sense, but I wish I knew that before when I went in the maze.
It's, even with the narration by Danny Trejo, it's not very clear.
Yeah, that was really
coming from him, it never is.
Yeah.
He's just like, let's go.
But you just go in. That's it. Now, having talked to John the third and last time during the behind the scenes for Annual Pass, he was actually pleasantly surprised of how well Insidious did. It was his first kind of jump into the supernatural realm, because for years he had been avoiding it because Horror Nights has always been a very visceral experience, and ghosts really rarely don't go into that kind of area. But with Insidious, because most of the ghosts are played by live actors, they're not see-through or anything, they're on set, they're able to utilize that in a live setting, which I think works to its advantage. And I know you guys didn't see it, but having seen both films and really enjoying both films, as a fan, I can say it was one of my favorites of the night, if my favorite. Just because of the effects that they did with the ghosts and the demon. Oh my gosh, the demon was one of the few scare actors of the night that actually scared me.
If I saw the movie, I'm pretty sure that would be one of my favorites too. So
it would make a lot more sense.
It would make a lot more sense and everything. But I do have to say, it did have, like he said, it did have its charm and everything like that. It did get us a couple times here and there, but yeah. If you saw the movies, what happened?
Nothing. No, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
and then going on Evil Dead. Of course.
Yes, that was.
Now, since I went on a preview night with her because she works there, it didn't feel like it could have been, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been a lot better. Like, in the scene with the bathroom with the girl cutting her face off, when we're walking in, she was looking right at us, waiting for the people to come in, and then
Oh.
started going.
They
I'm just like, okay.
Well, then again, and also we do understand that it is the beginning. These people are still probably very new to it. I mean, we do have
Getting into
veterans
it.
that have been working
Yeah.
for several years, and then we have brand new people who are still trying to get the hang of everything. So we understand. We're not like bagging them on or anything like that. But I do have to say, I went through it on one of my breaks and during the later days, and I have to say, from the first day to that time, so much better, so much more scarier. Even though I kind of knew where all the characters were and everything like that, it was scary. It was.
Yes, you know.
Yeah. no shame here. I do get scared easily, but yeah, no, it was a lot more better and a lot more cohesive. Stop laughing. No, but it was very cohesive, very well thought out, made. Huge fan of the movies, and I thought I was fangirling the entire time. I was flipping out, like, oh my gosh, here's the book, oh my gosh, here's the actress, oh my god, they look exactly like the people, and it was just, I was very satisfied.
It was
very
pretty cool
fun.
walking through the cabin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was,
That
but
was
unfortunately, it was a little too short.
Yeah,
Sure.
it did feel short, but as a fan, I absolutely loved it. I think one of my favorite scenes wasn't even that big of a scare as much as it was just really cool to look at. Was right as you enter the cabin and Eric's reading the book, and right when he says the last, like Mia comes out and she's like, "You're gonna die tonight." And I thought, oh my gosh, and she hit that every time with the audio, and it was just, it works so well. And I was
my
giggling
favorite
to
too.
myself.
That was pretty nice.
That was awesome. Yeah. I think my favorite part was the animatronic that they had where Mia was throwing up on that one girl.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. But I do love that they had the screen there, so you weren't totally getting shot with blood and everything like that. But just looking at it, she throwing up on her and everything like that. All of a sudden, she turns Mia up. Oh my god! That was so cool, and I'm very glad they brought the raining blood scene.
Oh, the raining blood.
Yeah, the raining blood scene
like
was
that.
amazing. That was really nice.
But then it wouldn't be Evil Dead without rain.
Without the raining blood.
Exactly.
I'm impressed of the way they did that with the mixture of lighting effects and misting. I thought that
that was really neat. We can move on now to the backlot area.
Oh,
we can go
let's talk about the backlot. Yes.
Yeah, the backlot.
Let's start with the backlot experience. Now, I know there were half people that were very disappointed with the amount of space that they didn't get to utilize. I know, and I'm guilty of this, I thought they were going to utilize a little more of New York Street, which would have been fantastic.
Yeah, they
nice.
really should have.
During the night, they could have easily,
Just
I think,
even
closed
like-
that off,
yeah.
even with like guards like
I
blocking
think
it up.
they
They didn't
should've-
have to use shipping crates. They could have just,
Yeah, right.
I think they should have opened up Hill Valley.
with the clock tower
With
with
the
zombies,
clock
wasn't it?
tower.
That would have been cool.
So many Universal movie fans, Back to the Future fans would have absolutely flipped. I mean, they probably didn't really realize how close they were to the actual Hill Valley set where they filmed Back to the Future. But me working there, I knew exactly where they were.
Yeah.
On the other side of the
Same here.
on the other side of what was it, Walking Dead and Blacked Out, the Hill Valley's right there, and just like so close but so far.
I mean, for what they had, I enjoyed it. I mean, just the fact that I was walking on the back lot was enough for me, because usually you have to pay a decent amount to be VIP just to do that. But now you're getting to do it for a little less, which
Yeah.
so I can't really complain.
Yeah.
I mean, as a
It's
universal,
not fair.
You don't have to
Amazing.
go throughout the entire
Yeah.
place like your VIP people would, but still.
as a
Yeah,
universal
walk
fan,
around.
I absolutely enjoyed it.
Yes.
Like, it was such a treat. But I believe the experience was a little better during the night. I know if you go, because a lot of people, including myself, recommend that you go during the early time for it. Straight when the park opens, go straight to the back lot to do Walking Dead and that. Definitely during the night, it was a lot better because, one, the darkness in that corner of the back lot, you can't see almost anything. And then with the fog effects and the thing, I had to walk straight because I couldn't see where I was going.
Yeah.
And I was afraid I was going to jump in front of walk right in front of a scare actor. So I think it worked better at night.
Without a doubt, yes.
And definitely when you get to the second part where they have the burning building with the zombies in it. And
I love watching the videos, I love watching the videos because if you look at each of the windows, there's like a specific story going on. Like, my favorite one was as you look in the very last window up on like the third or fourth floor. You're looking up, and all of a sudden you see there's a walker going at the end of the window, and all of a sudden, boom, shotgun to the head. It was awesome, just splatter on the window and everything, and then it would play back to the original part where the walker would come out and everything.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
I never noticed.
The little details that John Marty has, little details.
He's a genius, that man.
Yeah,
But
he is.
John, what did you think of the backlot?
It was nice. I feel like they could have utilized it a bit more with scare actors as a scare zone. But it was nice, like you said, just to be able to walk on a backlot without having to spend an arm and a leg for a VIP tour.
Exactly.
So that was nice. You know, Walking Dead and Black Sabbath were down there, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes. Let's move on to Walking Dead, which was the first maze you hit while you go there. I personally really loved this rendition. I thought it was 100 times better than last year's, which is not to say I didn't enjoy last year's. I enjoyed the hospital scene and that, which you were a part of, weren't you, Jen?
Yes, I was.
And I loved the prison. The prison was just beautifully recrafted for the attraction. The cell block looked fantastic.
The detail was
was
immaculate. It was amazing. Like, I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm so excited tonight's a new episode of Walking Dead, and I'm really excited to go home and watch
New
it.
episode.
Yep. It is Sunday as we're filming this, but it's just, oh my gosh, the show and everything like that. All the walkers, you see familiar walkers from the show. You have like the prison inmates and everything. You got the cell blocks. They have like a whole upper level on the prison and everything, and it's just, oh my gosh, I can't even describe it. It was amazing. It's like you're inside the actual set of The Walking Dead, and it's just absolutely stunning.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say, even though I liked the fact that it was prison, I felt it was really weak.
Interesting. No, let's hear this.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't feel like there was enough scare actors in it.
Yeah,
And there was a lot of fake zombies in there. Like in that, there was one part where it looks like like a group of zombies comes running at you, and then it pulls back, kind of like I guess it's some sort of like mechanism.
I think that was my favorite effect. I know
I thought
it
it was kind of lame.
It got me though, like really good.
Yeah, she practically jumped out of her skin, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
I was expecting a scare actor to come out there because it was just a black space. I'm like, scare actor, and all of a sudden it just
There were some parts in the maze as well, like if you're going through a room, it's like I thought it was a scare actor, but it was really just a dummy. And I'm like, that could have been a scare actor.
I think one night, I can't remember if it was the second night or the third night, I'm pretty sure it was the second night, I went to Horror Nights. They replaced a lot of the dummies with scare actors. So I'm like thinking, dummy. And then the guy, it was right when you enter the maze for the first time, you come around the first corner, and there's just these cell blocks with like zombie dummies in there. One of them was real. Like, it was the one right when you come around the corner, and he stuck his arm through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not a dummy.
Or maybe he is.
I definitely love the helicopter scene. They actually used a real helicopter for that scene, and I really liked that, and Michonne's walkers, which were...
I thought
that
was
was
cool
awesome.
that they included. I also liked the governor's
The
thing.
governor's room.
Let's talk about Woodbury for a second, because I think if I was to have any disappointment through this, I think the Woodbury scenes were very disappointing. However, the governor's man cave was really cool. I loved the fish tanks.
I think that was my favorite.
with the one real head.
Yeah,
You noticed
that was really creepy. I'm just like,
Wait,
is that moving?
he's real.
He's real.
Penny was even good because it was funny. We were walking one night and she wasn't coming out. I'm like, where is she? And all of a sudden she just walked to the side of us, and my friend jumped so back because she didn't realize that she was just out of there going back into her scare area.
Just the thought of a child that's a walker, that just
I think that is
shivers
a
my
disturbing
bones
thing.
and everything. It's just that's so
Welcome to the world of zombies.
yeah, no, but it's so absolutely nuts. And actually, look at a kid though, but obviously they're not allowed to hire kids or anything like that. But still, it was just so crazy how good that was. So yeah.
I think going on like with Woodbury, I was disappointed because then it goes into. I'm assuming this is the pens, the zombie pens for the arena.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really clear. It just looked like an industrial site.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in comparison with Orlando, which is a complete reverse, you start in Woodbury and then you go to the prison.
Yeah.
The Woodbury there is a little more clear. You actually walk in the streets, you see the governor actually shooting a zombie trying to get to you.
They actually had governor's character?
Yeah.
Really?
He had a rifle and he's shooting the zombie trying to get to you, and the effects are going off. He's getting hit by strobe effects, so he's going back. it's more clear that it's Woodbury. Whereas in this, you're going through what looks almost like a meat packing industry because you've got dead pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that this is one of the things a lot of us on InsideUniversal.com have been talking about in terms of Universal is that I think they do need to have a quote garage sale for a lot of their props that they've been reusing.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath was
do a
good.
little new.
It takes you out of the experience, especially if you're a veteran like us, and like for a new person like you, JJ, you start the more times you go, you start to notice these things. Like Black Sabbath in the Asylum, they had a patient dummy, and it had the jigsaw box from Saw 5 on it with the water in it.
Yeah, I did see the video for that, and I'm looking at them like that is kind of familiar.
That's Saw, and
yeah.
I think.
And the pigs that they used for Walking Dead was actually reused for La Llorona, which also that was reused
from
from
Saw.
for Saw. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I know our Universal doesn't have the budget for it like Orlando does,
Which
where they have more room, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Because they're an entire theme park. Yeah.
But we're in Hollywood.
But California, man. Budget sucks. But no, I think at some point Universal will have to go through its inventory and say, okay, we're going to get some new stuff in.
Yeah.
Because after a while, people start to realize that, oh, this was from a maze back the other day.
Like you, since you are paying attention to detail very well, so you would be one of the many people who would be like,
I did notice a lot of things, but reused. Funny story though in Walking Dead was, and I think I said this in my other video for Walking Dead, but we were going through, and I think it was the night we went with Han, so it was day one, and we were pushing through the pigs, and I was looking at the zombie to the right, and all of a sudden my friend in front pushed the pig, and it smacked me in the head.
Yeah, those hurt. They really do
They're not
hurt.
exactly soft.
No, they're not. They hurt very
They're
much.
a little squishy.
They're
but I
not squishy,
mean,
but they're still like solid
They're
pieces,
hard.
and I just got
Yeah.
smacked in the head by a pig.
Yeah.
And this happened
people
3
can say that.
times during the night too, in different swing sessions. And I'm like,
Oh, how was your morning? No, it was pretty good. I just got a
Okay.
concussion. No problem.
we just recently talked about Black Sabbath, and we all agree that it was a very enjoyable maze. So let's talk about El Cucuy.
I have to say props on the on the originality of the whole story, like they did with La Llorona. That was an original maze, not based off of you're taking over stuff, not based off of like franchise, like video games or movies, TV shows, stuff like that. Very good for an original maze. I do have to say though, in the beginning, since I went during like one of the first nights, the Danny Trio narration wasn't really loud enough for me to understand.
I agree.
He's also not very creepy.
He's not.
either.
It's Danny.
Danny Trio.
No, he looks creepy. There's a difference from sounding and looking. He just looks like he's ready to rape anything that moves.
Well, a couple years in prison, maybe that'd do that to you too.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but no, the whole Danny Trio thing was, there's only a couple parts where I totally understood. It'd be nice if we hear it cohesively throughout the entire maze. Also, I do have to say that my favorite room was the one in the boys' bedroom where they had the hands that kind of looked like a thing was coming out from underneath. And that was really cool.
I liked the way it all looked. Like
it was
all gory.
Yeah. So
I like the mix of pumpkins.
that was interesting.
That
was cool.
And I like the fact, after talking to John that and seeing the behind the scenes, he said that he wanted to make it so like the pumpkins are crying, but they're seeds.
Yeah, no,
They're
that
pumpkin seeds,
kind
which
of
I
came
thought was
through
really
pretty well.
cool.
So, also some of them I thought a few of them were barking too, but no, I understand some of them were crying though, so like we got that one.
But it's interesting you say because I agree. On day one there was absolutely nothing. There was no signs like with La Llorona. They had the story outside of the maze.
Yeah.
There was no signs or anything. There was not even the narration by Danny Trejo outside. And I've said a lot of this stuff in my previous review where I wanted to give it a second chance because there was, going through the maze, there was almost nothing in there. Like, it wasn't scary. It was kind of disappointing, and I wanted to like it because the story sounded interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And so going back a second time, it was definitely changed my opinion because they added a lot more, and this was the second week that they did Horror Nights. And they actually added signs. They added Danny Trejo's voice outside narrating the story. And going through, they added some parts to the maze. Just recently, they added the long black corridor where there was absolutely nothing in there, which was kind of
except for like occasionally a dude showing you where to go.
Actually, he wasn't there day one.
He wasn't there day
No,
one?
so I was super let down because he went. There was nothing. It was just point A to point B into the next scene, which was kind of disappointing. And then the second week I went, they actually added him, and I didn't even notice that because they have employees there in black robes that tell you where to go, and that's what I thought he was. And he actually put his flashlight to his face, and I could see it, and I'm like, oh god, it's a good one.
Oh wow, now that is smart.
Yeah.
Because you always said that because they're just there to help you, and you're like,
go now, and then I was close enough because I'm trusting of too many employees. he just went up to my face with his. I'm like, oh my god, this is
they need to do that more. That's so cool.
And I wanted it more because on the third week I went, he had he didn't have the flashlight. He had one of those orange sticks, and he's like narrate, and then he goes up to me. I'm like, oh, you got me. And then I'm walking along, and I didn't see it, but he turned off his light and actually followed me to the thing, and because it's pitch black, I couldn't see him. And then right when I get to the exit, like he puts his thing on, I'm like, ah, damn it! Well done, sir. Well done. So El Kukui, I think, was really fun. I know they took out an effect where they were going to have a giant El Kukui at the end, where it had a fat belly and it had all the children kind of pushing against it, which would have been really creepy. And the concept art is on the Facebook page. But it turned out they took it out because I think of budget, they couldn't do it in time,
There we go again with the budget.
But I felt that if they were to have time with it, I could see it coming back. But I'd like to see a transition into Americana myths and legends.
Yeah.
Maybe something like the Headless Horseman, Sleepy Hollow. Especially since Sleepy Hollow, the TV show, has been out, and it's so popular now that even in 5 episodes, it's already gotten the second season renewal. And I've watched it, and I've really enjoyed it. And the Headless Horseman is really cool. And they've got different creatures as well in the show, like the Sandman, which is a really... So they can utilize that property as
maybe that'll be an idea for next year, or maybe maybe another year. That'd be a good idea.
I think Walking Dead has had its run. I think, having seen season 4, they've already done the prison. And I think Walking Dead should lay down to rest. For next season.
I agree. As much as I'm a big fan of Walking Dead, it needs to go. It needs to go.
In my opinion, I think anything to do with zombies at a theme park, it's kind of been played out now.
And I think Universal's kind of using it as a crutch.
It's like, if this doesn't work, well, we know Walking Dead
works.
We know people like that.
So let's go into the Terror Tram. What did you guys think of the Terror Tram? I thought it was better this year. I thought it was...
I have no reference.
They actually added a lot more little walkthroughs and stuff, like the deer locker. The burnt zombies were really effective. Actually, they were the scariest, I think, out of the bunch, because they would crawl towards you, and that worked really well. But what did you guys think?
I like that we got to meet Norman Bates.
Yes. They did have a photo op for the Norman Bates in front of the house and everything. That was actually pretty neat. But... truthfully, as much as I do like Walking Dead or anything like that, Terror Tram, the whole thing, I was kind of disappointed. Just a little bit.
Too many chainsaws.
Too many chainsaws. I do agree with that. Beginning and end, they had chainsaws, and some here and there throughout the whole maze and everything. And it just, I don't know what it is, but it kind of little bit, like it lacked a little bit, in my opinion. Just a little... lacking.
But again, we also were on preview night, and from what you said, it's like as it goes on, it gets better.
The actors were a lot more.
That kind of makes me happy. That gives me a little.
Also, that was the first thing we did, and it was still daytime when we did it.
Oh, it was effective at night. You couldn't see anything.
Okay, then we'll have to take the word for it.
Well, it was about nighttime by the time we got to the Bates Motel.
Yeah. So moving on from there, let's talk about Universal's Monsters Remix Resurrection, which I have to say is just the same as it was last year, and it's the House of Horrors with dubstep.
That's what I felt. It was just crappy music.
If I was to take anything from positive, it was me just bobbing my head to the beat. That's it.
I didn't do that.
They had more characters than they do on normal, regular everyday
Yeah.
basis and everything like that, which I think they should have every day because they have House of Horrors and everything. Like, I think there's only about
Like 3 people in that whole thing.
4 people that are actually throughout the entire thing. But now there was like, I don't know, like 10, 15 maybe. Just about people that are actually working in the Monsters remake. They should have that year round.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, the one thing that I was really excited for, I watched Sci-Fi's Face
Face
Off.
Off.
Yes, and Alana was my absolute favorite makeup artist on it, and it was so awesome to see her makeup in person at the maze, and it was so cool. I loved her idea of Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, so it was really nice actually seeing that in person.
I enjoyed seeing Frankenstein. I have to disagree. I never liked Alana, but we were happy when she went.
Oh.
But me and my dad anyway. I know. We couldn't stand her whining. Anyway, that's
something.
But I did this is one of the few designs from Alana I really enjoyed was the design of Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. I thought she did the best job on that.
Yeah.
So I can't take that away from her. And I really enjoyed them in the maze itself.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Invisible Man from the Halloween Horror Nights Create Your Own Scare Actor contest?
I don't know. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I didn't see him.
Really?
I didn't see him.
He wasn't in the maze?
I don't remember where he was supposed to be.
He was the DJ.
Yeah.
Like where Frankenstein Monster is and Bride of Frankenstein.
He's behind everything, so it's.
I didn't see him.
Oh, okay.
You were probably too
I was too fixated on Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein, so I don't.
Yeah, he was.
I will be honest, I really wasn't that impressed by that makeup either. I hate to say, I don't even watch that show, and she was all excited for it, so I'm like, oh, I guess it must be good. I go and I'm like, I would have rather seen classic Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein.
If you saw the show, it was a lot better personally though, it was a lot better on the show because they had a lot more time to work on it and stuff like that. This was they just did a mask and everything, so.
Well, overall, it's basically House of Horrors with dubstep with more actors.
That's
what
I took from it.
There's not much to say on this, and even I didn't even bother doing a review for it because at the end of Victoria's, which I still have to put up, we did a part 2 with Victoria's thoughts after the event because it was her first time. We both agreed that it was, even for her first time, she enjoyed it because she enjoys dubstep, but she just didn't find it frightening at all.
There was a lot of dancing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't dance, scare us.
Scare us.
Honestly, I just wanted to dance throughout the entire maze. I wasn't scared at all. So.
Yeah, that's how I was. It's a relaxing maze.
There shouldn't be dubstep in
the maze.
It should be like creepy music.
I think it should return to, there was a concept they did a few years back, and it was vampires.
Mm-hmm.
It started from young vampires all the way to and then they had rotten vampires, which I think was a little more effective than
that sounds so much more interesting.
They actually utilized the Van Helsing castle to be vampires.
Oh, that was when it was Count Dracula's castle back then when Van Helsing first came out, right? That was several years ago. Oh my gosh.
I believe it was 2007.
Oh wow.
No, not 2007. That's Carnival of Carnage. 2008. Nope.
It was back.
No, it was
back. As you can tell.
2009. Sorry, 2009. I know this for a fact because in 2010 it was Chucky, then it was Monsters Remix, and crap, I skipped a year.
Oh, it's okay.
Anyway,
you know what
they did a vampire scenario, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And it worked for its setting, so it wasn't just simply dubstep or anything. So scare zones. What did you guys think of the scare zones? I actually really enjoyed the clowns one. I was never a big fan of clowns in the previous years.
That was my favorite as well.
Because I like the fact that they decided to go with a European design on the clowns.
And the whole Parisian clowns and everything like that.
I actually thought they were more scary than the regular American clowns. Because everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I like Chucky because they brought back the Insult Emporium.
Oh, I missed that both.
It was so hilarious. I mean, he wanted to go do something, so we only were able to catch it for a couple of minutes. But what we did see, it's hilarious.
Did he insult you guys?
It was hilarious. No, he didn't insult us, but it was hilarious seeing him insult other people, and we're just like, oh my gosh, this guy is perfect. It was so hilarious because I'm not familiar with Chucky. I do know the whole basis and everything like that, where he batteries and everything all that kind of stuff. But But it was hilarious, and I love that they had like little Chuckies walking around and everything. That's made it even so much more creepier because
Especially since they're not grown men dressed up.
Yeah,
as Chucky. They were
it's just-
midgets dressed up as Chucky.
little people. Let's
No.
be politically correct.
Do I look like a politically correct person? No, I'm not.
Chucky was I was never a big fan of Chucky, so I kind of bypassed it. I did walk through it, but nothing scary.
No.
However, I did have to give kudos to the guy in the needle head, the voodoo doll.
I saw that.
That was
yes.
cool. The sack head and the needles in
Yep.
there. Scarecrow's was alright. Like, it wasn't. It was fun to look at. It
Yeah.
wasn't scary, but it was
Yeah.
fun to look
When
at.
we went, there were only 2 stilt walkers. That's it.
Oh, when they started the night.
When they started the night, it was only two stilt walkers. But as I was working and everything like that, I had like a couple more. None of them were on the ground or anything like that. But it was interesting seeing them act like birds and stuff like that. That was actually kind of cool. But but it was just a nice thing to look at.
Yeah. The Purge was a lot of fun. Like you said,
I
JJ,
like
you,
that.
you
That
liked
was
that.
cool.
That
That
was
was
nice.
cool. There was actually a guy that was I laughed at him and he was looking at me funny and I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get me. So he kept following us. And following us, I kept looking back and I kept laughing and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's actually gonna do this. He's following us. All of a sudden, we get to the very edge to where the Purge people stop, so they can't go any further.
Yeah.
And he's trying to rev up his chainsaw and we're like, okay, try again. All then he comes up to us, he accidentally stepped on JJ's foot, and then he kind of like had a little apology pat, but then he
That's not very apologetic.
No.
Sorry.
No, but it was actually really funny though. I love the whole how the characters do have a sort of level of interaction with the actual guests and everything like that. So that was actually really nice. So. But it was hilarious how he was just chasing me, walking me around, and I'm just like, he's just like casually walking, like looking at me. I have a chainsaw. I'm gonna get you.
One of them, like when we were filming Victoria's little I think it was the outro when we just got out of the House of Horrors. Like one of them apparently came up behind me with a knife and started doing this in front of the camera, and Victoria was laughing. I'm like, that's how desensitized I am. Scary. Was like, oh, cool. But it was funny with the backlot zombies when you first get the tram stops and they come to it. Some of them were crab walking. I turned to my friend and I'm like, it's the walking crabs.
No, I call it a crab walker.
The crab walker.
It's a crab walker. Look, it's a crab
I'm
walker.
like, these are the most agile zombies on the planet.
Yeah, no, that scare zone actually was really good when you get off the Backlot
The
Express.
bad lot.
Backlot Express, and they had a tank there too, an actual legitimate tank, and it was that was really cool.
That did scare me because
That was so cool.
I was walking past it, and this was day one as well, and I'm walking past it, and I'm looking at all the other zombies walking around, and one of them was underneath, and he actually swung out and tried to reach out. I'm like, oh, okay, good one. Good one.
No, I had to say that the walkers. If I had to give an award to any of the characters, I would have to give it to the walkers because they just had a lot of fun with it, and a lot of them watched the show, so they were true to how they actually acted to the TV show and everything. And I just kudos to them.
Yeah.
So that was very, very, very.
I know last year a couple of them said brains, and we had to correct them.
Yeah, that,
Only one movie does that.
Yeah, there's
I
only one
thought
from-
that one movie that you said that one time.
And yet
that's what happens.
Everyone associates it with that.
But then again, you also gotta think of, like, in any theme park that does a horror theme like this during that time of
Scarecrows
year,
have a little.
they always have to growl and scream at you, and zombies don't have any vocals.
No.
Yeah.
If anything, they're gargling on the blood that they were
Yeah, that's
they're
all they
eating.
do. So I mean, you can correct every single one of them and go no,
No.
no, no, no.
But there was a very, very big handful that did stay true to it, though.
I'd have to say a lot of them were better this year that actually stayed true to it. And like John said, I believe in an interview that a lot of them are fans of the show, so they know how to act around them.
Yeah.
So let's finish off with saying what you thought of the event as a whole. Do you think this was one of the better years, or kind of not as good as previous years?
Well, I've never been to a previous year before, so I wouldn't know. This is my first time.
Oh, okay.
It's not both of our first times doing it, but I'd say for a first timer, very, very satisfied.
You enjoyed
I
this
want
one?
to do it again next year, most definitely.
As a vet, I think this was one of the more better years, despite problems with trafficking with people in the mazes. I
Worth
do
it.
think it was definitely worth it
It's worth
this year. there was a lot of really good IPs, a lot of brand new mazes. There was only one return, and even that was completely different.
Yeah.
So I have to say this was one of the better years. Now, as a final note, is there any IPs or franchises you would love to see utilized for next year? I know for mine, The Shining.
If they had a whole thing with the hotel and just
that would be
like,
cool. But
that'd be interesting.
Like if it was just had some creepy music and not crowded up so much like they usually do with people, like
yeah,
let like maybe 4 or 5 in at a time or just one group of people.
yeah,
Like and after like say if we all went, just let us go through and
just
like
kind
kind
of
of
split
that
up
thing.
into groups.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that way you're like just alone, and then it takes you through the journey of The Shining, and then you end up getting chased by Jack.
That'd be interesting.
I know for me personally, Trick or Treat would be a maze, and I know John has talked about a couple of years. It's been on everyone's favorite list for a long time. In fact, that's what I thought was going to happen because he was giving hints like pumpkin and that. I'm like, Trick or Treat, and then it was El Cuckoo, and I'm like, oh. Well, this could be good. But I'm hoping because it's a IP you can easily utilize with human actors. It's got some great environments. You can even create your own stories around the iconic Sam character. So there's a lot you can do with Trick or Treat, and it works into the season. So I mean,
There you go.
There's
Trick or treat.
and it's a title, so it still goes along with Universal's theme of movies.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I don't know what I would. Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, like to have an actual like legitimate maze, like just where you're actually walking through instead of a walkthrough, you're actually trying to figure something out. But make
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser, that'd be interesting.
The Hell World is a giant maze.
That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
That would-
No, I think that I've never really experienced the movies though, but I do know the basis of Saw. Make a maze like Saw.
So
Where you
basically,
have
the
to go
house
through,
from
like-
number 2, where it's a kind of a maze of houses that some doors are locked, some you have to
Yeah,
get
you have to find out a way, and if you don't get it at a certain time, they have to pull you out.
Yeah.
So that'd be
Game
interesting
over.
if they had a theme based on the Saw like that.
Game over.
You
Game
lost
over.
the game.
You're done. Game over, man.
I
Game
know
over.
a lot of
Great
people's
game.
one that they want to bring back from Orlando is American Werewolf in London,
I
which
wanna
I
see
would
that.
love to.
I
and
want to see that.
That was this year's most popular maze at
Uh-huh.
Orlando's one, and I can see why. Those
I saw the
werewolf
video.
puppets.
It was fantastic.
The puppets are just so great.
Yeah.
That was American Psycho.
That'd be interesting.
What do you think?
Any like psycho
Like
thriller.
I don't know how they would do it, but
Yeah.
they could probably
This
find
one
a way
I
to do it.
would kind of have some doubts about, but
Make it a scare zone. How about that? Make it a scare zone.
yeah, a scare zone
Make
would
it a
work. I
scare.
think.
There is a scare
There
zone.
you go.
And replace Norman Bates with what's
Christian Bale. Let's just
No.
say Christian Bale.
Norman Bateman, is it?
Yeah,
his
Norman
name?
Bateman. Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, have it Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Resident Evil, I would like to see utilized.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about that.
I know it's a Return to Zombies, but it has monsters as well.
No, yeah.
So,
But if they were gonna do that, I would hope they'd go more geared towards more of the video games rather than.
they did. This newest, the maze in Orlando was completely games. It was based on 2 and 3. So it had tyrants, it had the Nemesis in
But
it.
why not just have one based around just the first game, so a mansion?
Ooh, see, that would make it different, and I would be okay with that. As much as I would love to see Nemesis in person, that would be
Everyone
cool.
would love to see Nemesis.
I was
but
a little disappointed with their mask, though. In Orlando, it looked a bit derpy, but that doesn't.
So did the movie.
Yeah, true that.
Maybe they used the same one.
Resident Evil, I think, would work. Dead Space, I think, in terms of video game
Oh.
IPs,
Oh,
corridors and then
I would not go in that
small
maze.
corridors at that, like on a space station, just those
My-
small corridors. With
Oh.
doors. Oh, forget about
I
it.
wouldn't be able to look in the maze. I'd be gone. I'd be like, look at it, idiot, done.
rationalization of this being a possibility is the fact that if they can do the thing, they can do.
They can do it.
In fact, I would like to see a return to the thing maze.
Mhm.
And this is possible because Orlando made their very own. Yes.
Then I was literally amazing.
They had their very own sequel maze to the first film, to the 1982 one, where you saw the bodies of Childs and that, and it was in an outpost. So you make an original thing maze. That would be really
But
cool.
around like a certain subject.
Yeah. See, that's still my favorite maze.
Of
Of all the years I've been, the thing is still my favorite maze, just because the creature effects are just so good.
I just saw something. Have you seen It was a while ago. Like 40 Days of Night.
30 Days
30
a Night.
Days of Night.
I
That's
love
what it
30
is.
Days a Night.
That would be an interesting one.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Vampires and everything like that. Or they were vampires, right?
They were
They were
vampires.
vampires. Yeah, I know. Just the whole thing of like surviving underworld. That'd be
So
interesting.
vampires and werewolves.
I'm just thinking of
Unlike
the fear factor, really.
You could do it.
Yeah.
It could work.
Do it in the House of Bars.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the
It
best
would work
place
for the
to
environment.
work.
Yeah, it would work
Yeah.
for the environment. Yeah, but Halloween, I would love to see a return to Halloween.
Yeah.
I
That
missed
would-
that maze back in
They did a
2008.
maze on that?
It was called The Life and Crimes of Michael Myers, and it went through. Even Halloween 3 had a cameo in there, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers,
Oh
but
my gosh,
they had that
was
stupid
great.
commercial going on.
No, but here's the question. Now here's the question: would it be the original or would it be the Rob Zombie remake?
Now, this
a
is-
mix of both.
I think the only reason they did this was because I think John was already preparing to work with Rob on House of a Thousand Corpses, the maze. So the attraction itself was very much the originals,
Mhm.
but the mask had cracks and stuff
So
in it,
That's
like
Rob
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 Zombie.
Zombie. Yeah.
But
So
the
mix 'em up.
but the outfits and stuff was very 70s. It was
Mhm.
very, and then for later movies, 80s and stuff like that. So I would like to see a return to that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd like to see more Rob Zombie though.
You know what I would like Friday the 13th, but no Jason. Mix it up a bit and have it like
Oh, like the TV series?
No,
Or
like
the-
the first
oh,
movie.
oh, I was going to say the TV series where there's a group of people trying to get the artifacts and stuff like that, the cursed artifacts, which was
That's Jason.
they tried to do what Halloween 3 did. They tried to set it in the same universe but have like an ultimate kind of reality thing.
Let's not have that.
Jason, I enjoyed Jason's mazes from past years. Like, so. But anyway, so let's wrap this up. So you guys enjoyed it this year.
Yes.
So from me, Crazy Englishman / David, I want to say thank you for joining us,
Jen.
JJ.
and we will see you next video.